and I'm so glad that you have decided to spend just a few moments of your night with me. I am so appreciative of your time just because it's nighttime and this is a kind of time where people kind of chill and they, relax and everything. So I definitely do appreciate you guys spending a few moments with me. I did forget to do something. What did I forget to do? Just bear with me for a second or two. I forgot to do something that I was supposed to do, and I have to fix that. So I hope you guys are all doing well on this evening. Um, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm blessed, and I can say that I'm okay. Some days I'm not okay, but when I am not okay, believe me, I am going to tell you guys because I do not have a problem saying that when I am not okay. So thank you, Sharice, for sharing my video. I was looking because I needed to make a change on here, but I guess I can't really worry about that change that I need to make. So we are not going to worry about that because I will drive myself nuts trying to um, do this. So just bear with me as we get ready to talk about relationships. So tonight we're going to focus just a little bit on the other side. We are going to talk about where's my notes? I don't forget. I told you I'm trying to do two things at one time. We are going to talk about relationships and changing your perspective. And the reason why we're going to talk about this is because, we spend a lot of time talking about relationships, and I feel like we talked about a lot of bad things. And so we're going to just focus on just a different way of thinking on today. So just bear with me. Sorry. I'm so sorry, guys. Okay. All right. I got it now. I'm good. I'm good. Okay, so please forgive me. I I had some technical difficulties this evening. I'm still good with my time though. I had some technical difficulties. So, okay. So yesterday we talked about a few things. Hey Danella, how are you? We talked about a few things yesterday. We talked about relationships and we talked about, again, healthy versus unhealthy. We talked about love and defining love and do we really know how to love? And so, with that being said, we are going to have to change our focus just a little bit because, again, I felt like we have been focusing on a lot of, I don't feel like we've been focusing on a lot of negative, but I'm giving you practical things to do, practical things to look for. But one of the things that we have to realize within a relationship, there has to be a little bit of give and take. And so while we have our list of things and qualities we like, those things we could start off getting them in the beginning and then they could change midstream. What do? Do you end a relationship because something has changed? And so we're going to switch gears just a little bit and we're going to talk about those things because we talked about our deal breakers, things that we are absolutely not going to put up with. And so all of those things are things that could possibly go wrong in our relationship. Okay. And we're talking about family relationships. We're talking about intimate relationships. And so we need to absolutely give notice to those things. So let us switch. Okay. So I begin with, of course, all things start with God. We have to know this because everything that we do, it has to start with Him because we don't know enough. We haven't been enough places. And so when we start things with God, they have a tendency of working out a little bit better than us doing things on our own. Think of some of the wild decisions that you've made. It was based on your fleshly desires, things that you wanted that you were not going to do without. And so when you're talking about making decisions, when you're talking about getting into a relationship, it has to start with God, because if it doesn't, it may not do exactly what you wanted. It may not look the way that you wanted it to look. And so when we start things with God, then guess what he's going to do? By process of elimination, he's going to help you see the good, the bad, and everything in between so that you can make an educated decision about the person. Now, if God shows you who a person is and you fail to see that person and you continue on being in a relationship with them, whether it's a friend, whether it's a girlfriend, whether it's a boyfriend, then it's on you. You can't blame God. So many times in our life, we want to blame God for things. I was just talking to someone on the phone today, and this individual, I said, you need to let me pray with you. And this individual said, you know what? You know how I feel about God. And the individual said, until you can explain to me why good things happen, why bad things happen to good people, I don't want to hear about God. And so this person went on to tell me about something that was just absolutely horrific, explaining something that happened to a little girl. And I said, well, I can't explain that. And I began to explain what I could explain, but God does all things well. And I don't know why those things happen. And I'm not going to even try. If no one else has been able to figure it out, certainly I can't. All I know is we have to trust God and allow God to do the things that he's going to do. There are a lot of things that happen to people who we know don't deserve those things to happen to, but yet and still it happens. And so some things we just can't question, and we have to leave it alone. So anyway, back to what I was saying. So all things start with God. Okay, so I titled this one, Feeling Stuck in a Relationship. Now, it doesn't have to be a bad thing, okay? Because we are all a work in progress. Think about your relationship with your friends, with your family, with your significant other. Are you perfect? What things do you do that aren't okay? Because it's so funny that we want to point the finger at the other person and we are not taking notice of what we have done our own selves. And that's not okay. That's not okay to do, because when we are talking about issues, we all have them. There's not any of us who are walking around without an issue. And so we have to always look at ourselves first before we point the finger at the other person, period. Because you're not perfect, yet you expect this person to be perfect. And that's not fair to them. Okay, so we have to always look at ourselves. Now, I have this, what I wrote down. A relationship should be a safe place to grow and become, evidenced by love, honor, respect, and of course, fun. So that's kind of all inclusive. That talks about the generalization of a relationship. Okay, it should be a safe place to grow and become. Grow and become who God expects you to be, growing into becoming yourself, finding out your likes, dislikes, your natural talents, your gifts, your abilities. And if you're in a relationship, you should be able to do that safely. You should feel encouraged to do those things. Many times we don't always feel that. Is that a sign of an unhealthy relationship? Well, we have to begin to sort through what are the behaviors in that relationship that's making it unhealthy. Okay. But generally, when you are in a relationship with somebody, you should feel safe. You should be able to talk to that person without judgment. You should be able to share experiences and grow and learn and correct and love, all of those things. And all those things sound so good and so mushy. However, there's a large percentage of relationships that do not go like that. There's a lot of frustration. There's a lot of anger. There's a lot of bitterness, unforgiveness. It's all kinds of stuff that is in so many relationships. And we have to begin to sort through those things. And we have to decide what we're going to keep and what we're going to throw away. Okay? Now, the Bible says, I'm going to read it off of my tablet because I can't read that little writing. I hope you guys can see it. Okay, I don't know if I can make it any bigger. I think you guys can see it though. This scripture is in Genesis. This is after Adam fell asleep and God made Eve. The man said, "This is now bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman because she was taken out of man. This is why a man leaves his father and is united to his wife, his mother and father, excuse me, and is united to his wife, and they become one flesh. That's a powerful scripture because when you're talking, when you're listening to what they're saying, he's saying, this is bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. He's saying that, oh my gosh, woman, you are a part of me. You are mine, And so when you're talking about some deep intimacy to really be connected in that way towards somebody. So that is almost that almost resembles a relationship with you and your child. When you have a newborn baby, you look at that newborn baby. For those of you who have kids, you look at that newborn baby and you be like, wow, you are so beautiful, like you came from me, you're mine. And so your instinct is to do what? To love, to nurture, to protect, to teach, all of these good things. And you feel one with that infant because it's such an amazing thing that this whole human came out of you, and you just want to love it. You want to keep it safe. Well, that's the way a relationship should feel like. Your relationship should feel that closeness, that intimacy. You want to keep each other safe and secure. It's not a one-way street. It's not they do everything for you and then you selfishly sit and allow them to do it. That's not okay. That's not a relationship. I don't know what it is, but it's not a relationship. And so in a relationship, you give and you take. Okay. But you have to have two people who are willing to do that. Because if you have one person to say, I'm not doing nothing because she don't deserve nothing, I'm not doing nothing else for her. Okay. And then you have the other one who wants to do everything. How is that fair? Or you have two people saying, I'm not doing nothing for the other one because they don't deserve it. I'm sick of the way they talk to me. I'm sick of the way they treat me. I'm not doing nothing. So now you got two people that's living in the house and you guys are acting like this. It's not okay. You have to begin to sort and work through it. But again, it takes two people. If you're going to become one person, it takes two people working on that one thing. Okay. Now, I have some questions here. Is your relationship worth saving? Now, that is the first and foremost, because some of these relationships that you're in, some you can easily walk away, some you can't walk away from right now. Why? Because of different things. If you're married, then you may have accumulated things. You have children, you have a house, you have joint money, and you just can't it's not convenient for you to just get up and leave. Okay. Now, some of you guys, we're talking about family relationships. We're talking about friends. And so maybe it's a family member and you just can't go, leaving your family member. You can, but what if it's your mom? What if it's your dad? There's a way to handle these things. And so if you are stuck in a relationship, there are some things that you're going to have to assess. First and foremost, is the relationship worth saving? Now, we have the cliche saying, does the good outweigh the bad? Well, it depends on what standard you're using. What is considered good? What is considered bad? So let me give you an example. Say you have a wife. Your wife works. She contributes to the household. Your wife cooks. Your wife cleans. Your wife takes care of the kids. So your wife does everything according to society's view of what a wife should be. She works. She comes home. She cooks. She cleans. She takes care of the kids. She's doing a lot. Okay. However, your needs are not met as a man. She's like, she love you and you okay, but she kind of cool on you. Like, she just going through the motions. She's doing what's expected of her, but she's not meeting your emotional need as a man. So tell me, is that the good outweighs the bad? Because to look at it, she's doing everything that she's supposed to do, However, she's not taking care of you emotionally. We can even go a step further. She's not even combative. So she don't even nag you. She don't do nothing. She just do her job and just sit down. Okay? And she just lets you have the floor. But she's not meeting your needs. Is that a relationship worth staying in? Because, well, she do everything. She not cheating or nothing. She do everything. But as a man, she's not meeting my needs. What do I mean by meeting your needs? Well, maybe she has sex, but she's not into it. Maybe she just wants to do it on the weekends. Okay. So men love sex. And so do women, but men love sex. So you have a wife, you're married, and your wife don't want to have sex, or she wants to have it, but she just wants to not participate in it. that's a real issue because I believe that sex is like, I don't know, 80% of a relationship. I'm not sure. And so you have to look at those things. By whose measure are you measuring that good versus bad? Now, some things are obvious. If you're in a relationship and you have somebody acting crazy and they're always being disrespectful and they're cussing you out, cussing the kids out, and they're doing all these things, and maybe they're coming home drunk and they're not contributing to the household, all those things. So if you have all those things and you've talked to this person and they didn't want to change, then there's nothing that you can do with that. So now you're just staying there. Why? Because you've been there 12 years. You've been with this person. You've given them all this time. So you've given them 12 years. And so you're sitting here like, well, they're doing all these things. I don't necessarily like them, but because I've been here so long, I am just going to stay in that relationship. And that's not good either, guys, because now basically what you're doing is you're just settling. You're settling for less than what God has for you. Period. Because you don't want to leave, because you don't want to start over, because you don't want to feel that whole breakup scenario. I didn't just talk to this person, but I just talked to this person about a month ago. And they said, well, I know I should leave this relationship, but they said, I don't feel like starting over, and I don't feel like feeling like this for the next year. If I break up with this young lady, then I'm gonna have to feel like crap for the next year, and I can't take that. So I'm just gonna stay with her. Will she change? Probably not. What's she gonna do? She gonna cheat on you? Probably will. So you okay with that? I don't feel like starting over. I don't feel like going through the pain for the next year to get over her. And that person chose to stay. Okay. Now, will that relationship grow and change? I don't know. But I mean, if it doesn't, you can't blame anybody but who? Yourself, because you seen it, you knew it, but you chose to stay. Okay? So the second thing is change your focus. Now, if you have determined that your relationship is in fact good, and it don't have to be perfect, but it's all right, it needs some work, and you think that this person kind of can maybe change, maybe a little bit more patience, maybe if you just kind of move in silence, and maybe they'll change kind of sort of, they're kind of a good man or a good female, and you kind of invested a lot in them and you think that they have those qualities, then what you're going to have to do is, if you're going to stay in that relationship, you are going to have to do what? Change your focus. Why are you going to change your focus? You're going to change your focus because you're dedicated to one thing, the problem. So when you come home, all you see is what? The problem. You don't see her looking cute. You see a problem. You see a mouth. You see disrespect. You see all these things that you don't like. Okay? But if you change your focus, it's going to change the way you approach the situation. It's going to change the way you approach arguments. Okay? Let me show you guys a picture of focus. Okay, so I posted these earlier today. And this says that you can't always control the things in your life, and you can't. Okay, so this first picture is family. Okay, so this family, you got the good ones, you got the bad ones. I don't know if they're gossiping. I think they're trying to tell her what to do, and so she's just kind of looking like fed up, like I don't know who to listen to. I have you on this side, I have you on this side, and I'm just frustrated, and I just don't know what, and I'm getting mad. Okay, so these are people who are close in her life. Maybe it's a sister, maybe it's an auntie, maybe they're really close, and maybe she can't just X them out of her life like that. Maybe she can, maybe she can't. But what you have to do is look at what she did. She can choose to focus on who? Herself. Okay? Does that eliminate these others in her life? These family members or friends or whatever they're doing? No. They're still there. They're not going anywhere. But she has what? She's changed her focus. And now when you're looking at that lens, it's just her. The same thing with our life. Maybe we can't change our husband. Maybe we can't change our wife. Maybe we can't change our kids. They're definitely not going anywhere. Okay. But they are part of the bigger picture. But if we begin to do what? Focus in on what? Ourselves. Now we can't see what's on the other side. We can't look over here and be upset and look over here and be upset because we've changed our focus and we've made a point to say, you know what? I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to look over here. I'm not going to go over here and hop and say this and get into this. I'm not going to go over here and I'm going to stay focused. Good evening, Kira. How are you? And so I'm going to stay focused. Okay. Do I hear my kids? Are my kids all around me? Do I hear my wife? Is my wife all around me? Okay. Of course, your wife, your husband, everybody, they're all around you. They're in your house. Okay. But they don't have to be a part of this bigger picture, because if they are, you're arguing with your husband, you're arguing with your wife, you're arguing with your kids, you're arguing with your mother-in-law, you're arguing with your mom. So what you have to do is, again, change your focus, because right now, only thing you can focus on is the problem, and they are all the problem with their mess. But if you focus in here, you can't see them being the problem, because you're worried about what? Yourself. You're worried about the things that you are trying to do. You're worried about bettering yourself. You're learning how to get stronger. You're learning to have more resilience. You're learning how to talk. You're learning how to feel. You're learning yourself. Okay? The second example, in an unhealthy relationship, it's the same thing. He's there. Change your focus. Focus on you. For this relationship, she probably needs to focus on the things that she really wants. Maybe she wants to go back to school. Maybe she has some projects or something that she wants to start, and she wants to focus in on that. He's there. He's not going anywhere, but you see he back to talking on the phone to somebody. He's doing something he don't have no business doing. Now, I don't put up with that kind of stuff. I go. I leave. I leave because of that kind of stuff. I'm not staying. Okay? But this one, she might love him. And she might think that he's a good man because he provide for her and he give her everything she want. But he got a bunch of women. So what does she need to do? Since she decided to stay, don't get mad when he keep on doing it because you wanted to stay. But she's changing her focus. And chances are when you change your focus, you change. And when you change, guess what? You look around and you say, I don't know if you are attached to my journey still, because I focused on some things. I understand who I am. I understand what I want. And I know that you're not able to give that to me. So therefore, our journey has to stop here. Now, can these people do the same thing up here? Absolutely. Why? Because those are friends, those are family members, whoever they are. Same thing. I love you, sis. I love you, cousin. But guess what? I have to focus on me. This part of my journey belongs to me, and I can't share it with your opinion and your opinion, so I have to focus on me. Now, does that mean that you stop being they sister, cousin, whatever they are? No. It means that you keep them at a distance and you focus on yourself, and you kind of like, you have to let them know, like, it's over with for that. It's over with for that. I'm changing. I don't have time. Keep them at a distance. It's okay. It's okay. My family, they're at a good distance. All right. Why? Because they know why. They're at a good distance. I love them. Me and my mom is fine, but I'm just saying I have some other family and we're at a good distance because I know my journey and I'm very confident in where I'm going and who I am. And I'm not going to allow anybody to make me feel any less than what I am. I'm not going to allow anybody in my life to just say whatever they want, do whatever they want. Not me. And so therefore, if I see them, hello, I'm cordial, and I go. I'm cordial. I love you and I'm cordial. If you need me, you can call me if I have it or whatever, if I'm available, but I don't even involve myself. Okay? So that was changing your focus because you're dedicated to one thing. That's the problem. You can't focus on anything else. You can't get past anything else because it's that problem. Let's take fidelity, because fidelity is something that's like ruined so many marriages. So let's take fidelity. If you had a spouse that had an affair, guess what you're going to focus on for the rest of your life? That affair. Unless some real healing and some counseling and some prayer happens, you're going to focus on that affair, and you're not going to move past it. You're not going to be able to love her or him. You're not going to be able to have a productive marriage. You're not going to be able to have any of those things because you're focused on the problem, and you will not change your perspective. I mean, it is perspective, but I'm going to perspective next. That's why I said that. So the last thing here is changing your perspective. What is that? Looking at things differently. Understand that you are fighting a problem, not the person. We all have issues. Every last one of us is dealing with something, whether it's from our past or our present, we're dealing with it. And some of us, we have pains and disappointments and things that affect who we are today. And so it becomes a part of our character and it kind of leaks out. And so it's not necessarily something that we're doing on purpose, but it's caused by something, an event that happened in our life. And because that event happened, it altered the way we trust, feel, think, and all those things. And that person is, they're the recipient of your mess that's going on. So you have to begin to do what? Change your perspective. Look at things differently. So here, I have a snow globe. Okay. If you look at this snow globe, we both see the same thing, right? But we're going to look at it different, right? We're going to look at it different. You might zero in on the color that you like. For me, I like this pink one, this small pink one in the back. Why do I like it? Because this pink one is alone, and to me it just represents a journey of growth. And this pink one don't necessarily have the support, the people on the outside, but just kind of alone inside and things like that. How did I do all that? That's my perspective. That's how I think. That's what I'm thinking about. If y'all look at this thing, we both see the same thing. Y'all did not talk about this butterfly being lonely on a journey by itself. But me, when I see it, I'm like, journey, alone. What did the butterfly have to go through to get here? I hear that's a process. I think I read it once, and I don't remember the process of becoming a butterfly, but it's a process. So I'm thinking about all these things. You guys are just thinking maybe this is just a nice snow globe. Okay? So that's perspective. We're looking at the same thing, but we see different things. We think different things. And so we have to change our perspective in a relationship. So when we're talking about changing our perspective, let's consider what the other one went through. So every time I talk to you, you snap at me. I try to talk and give you compliments, and you kind of shoot my compliments down. You just don't feel like I love you. You feel very insecure, but I hug and I kiss you all the time. So now you're mad because you want to have a problem in a relationship because you kissy huggy and this person don't want to kiss and hug. Have you ever thought that maybe because this person was abused, that as a young child, that it affects the way they love and they trust? Okay, that's something to consider. That's a perspective. That's a perspective shift. Maybe my spouse is acting like this because of something. The people in my family act like they do because they just started off on the wrong foot in life. And it was 2 and 3 generations behind. Hi, Deanna, how are you? 2 and 3 generations behind. Okay, so you have to look at things from a different perspective, because people are patterns. People are the product of their past, even though we try not to be. We are. Okay. Am I a trusting person? I trust, but my trust is limited. Why? Because of all the disappointments. Okay. So now if I don't fully trust you, can you be mad at me? Yeah, you could be mad at me if you don't know why. And we're sitting here fussing back and forth because I'm always questioning you. I'm always feeling insecure. Well, what you don't know is I went through X, Y, and Z. And so we have to look at the perspective of another person. And when we change what we focus on in that relationship, when we change our perspective, let me consider it another way, then we can make an educated decision as to if we are going to continue in that relationship or not. Now, changing a perspective does not mean that that's always a good thing. That means that you're considering all things. So I'm not going to just focus on my little butterfly anymore. I'm going to focus on the role of all of it. This butterfly, and even the snowflakes on the inside. I'm going to look at all things now. Before I was just focusing on one thing, but I want to change my perspective. So I'm going to look at all things. So I'm going to look at your past. I'm going to look at your family history. I'm going to look at your past relationships. I'm going to look at all these things. Okay. I'm going to look at what you do in the home for me, what you do for the children. Now I'm looking at all these things and I'm making an educated decision. If so, will they ever be able to change? And that's the thing. If you have somebody who is willing to change, that works. So you may have a bad relationship, unhealthy relationship, but if you have a person that says, you know what, I understand that I have these issues in my life, I want to make them right. If you have a person that is willing, then you can work. You can work through your deal breakers. You can work through all of that stuff. Okay. But if you have a person that says, no, I'm not, then you can't do anything with it. Right down here, I have, if you look at a healthy relationship, expressing and listening to each other's feelings, needs, and desires versus unhealthy. One of you feels unheard and is unable to communicate what you want. So if you have a person that's just not going to hear you, then if they don't hear you, how can they change? Because they don't think what you think is the problem and they don't see a problem with it. So I'm like, whatever. Okay, I hear you. I hear you. And you done said it month after month after month. I need this from you. I need this from you. Okay. So by about year 5, you should know that this person isn't budging. So you have 2 options. You can continue staying in that relationship with unmet needs. That does not feel very good to have unmet needs, emotional, physical, sexual, whatever it is. It doesn't feel very good to have unmet needs. You could stay because you've been there for so long and you guys have attachments together, knowing that this person is not changed. But guess what? Don't you dare blame God. Don't you dare sit and complain because you chose it. Okay. Second, the other option is, okay, well, maybe you will stay, maybe they'll change, but maybe it's going to take a little longer. But this person is a good person and you know that this person is worth investing in. Why? Because this person was abused when they was younger and they can't get it together. So maybe if they get some help, maybe if they have a relationship with God, maybe the process of healing will start. And when a healed person is a healed person, then their perspective is different. The way they love you, the way they approach things, because they trust you, they're open to you. There's all kinds of things. Oh yes, or a child. So yeah, when you have kids in the mix, it makes it hard. It makes it very difficult. Um, in my marriage, I had kids in my first marriage, and I wanted to make it work because I had kids. Because the only thing that I thought about when I was growing up is I will not allow my kids to be raised in a dysfunctional home without both parents. So whatever I had to do to make it work, I was going to make it work. And I stayed in that marriage. And I think I stayed in that marriage. We were married 8 years. And I stayed in that marriage 5 extra years thinking that he was going to change. When out of his own mouth, he said he didn't want to be with me. He said it. But me, I was like, you know what? Nope, I'm just gonna pray. And the church ladies, they was like, oh, just stay. It's gonna be all right. God gonna change them. And it just wouldn't budge. It wouldn't budge. And so that's when I said, okay, Lord, I'm in this situation. What do I do? And that's when the Lord gave me my answers. And he gave me what I needed to know so that I can leave. Because he showed me this individual is not going to change. He does not love you. He does not want to come back to you. So may I ask why you're staying here? Having baby after baby after baby, because that's what I was doing, being stupid. And I can say that about myself because I was. There's no way that I should have kept doing that. But because I was young, because I wanted him, because I was scared, I didn't know what was going to happen, if I was going to be able to survive on my own with those kids, and then the thought of another relationship. But when the Lord opened my eyes, he opened my eyes. And he had to send not one, but two people to let me know that the Lord said, no, 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 that's not how he wants you to live. And so I had to part ways. Okay. And it was very, very hard for me. It was hard. And I said, God, why? But was God in my decision in the beginning? And so we can't ask God why when he wasn't even in the decision in the beginning. And so I had to go. And then Deanna, if that wasn't enough, I went and got married a second time, and I had some more kids. And the cycle repeated. And so now this was a little bit of a different issue. And I had to leave this marriage. And I said, are you freaking kidding me? I've accumulated more kids and this is happening to me. Why? Oh my gosh. I wanted to stay, but because of what happened, I knew I couldn't stay. And so I made a decision a second time. That was hard for me. You can imagine what I went through, knowing that not once, but 2 times I had to disrupt my children's life. And again, it was my decisions. It wasn't God. God told me no, and I thought I knew everything, and I'm going to stay and I'm going to make it work because I know the kind of woman I am. No, didn't make it work. Didn't change him. Didn't do nothing. Okay. Did God restore everything? He did restore me. I got a beautiful husband now. 3rd time's a charm. He restored. But look what I had to go through because I was disobedient, because I wanted to wait, because I wanted to, you know what I mean? I could have saved myself a whole lot. Now, did it work? Is it good? It's all good now because I'm able to help other women to see. I'm able to be an example of what not to do. Okay. And so I thank God for my journey, but it was a very painful journey. And if I think about it too hard, I'll get mad. Okay. Because I still have innocent kids that's wrapped up in the middle trying to figure out life. And so it's hard, and you want to make it work, but at what expense, so that you can get to 40 years old and be tattered and torn, not good for anything because you wanted to stay in a relationship because you had a baby. That's not a good reason to stay. It's not a good reason to marry anybody because that won't change the person if they don't want to change. If they're willing, then that's fine. You work on it and you start picking apart that list you wrote down and figure out what areas you need to change and they need to change. And again, we need to change too. Because guess what men feel? Men feel disrespected. Men don't feel like they have value. Men feel a whole lot of stuff like they're not needed. Why? Because we got these women who know everything. I could take care of myself. I don't need no man. You in my house, you doing. So when you're doing that kind of stuff, when you're paying all the bills and he's walking into your situation and you got it all together and you don't need him, how do you think he's going to feel? He's not going to feel very useless. I mean, he's going to feel useless. Okay? Compared to a woman who make him feel like a king. And that's why they cheat. Not all the time. That's not why all the time they cheat. Sometimes they want to cheat. But I'm just saying, you with your mouth, you consistently downing him. And so he got somebody who's not doing that. Somebody who love him, who make him feel like daddy. Because that's how men want to feel. Except my husband. My husband is African. His mindset is different. So not with the daddy stuff. But that's how men are. You know what I'm saying? And so you have these women doing this and then they snatching them. But what are you at home doing? We can't talk about him without talking about our own self and our own flaws and the things that we do. And yes, you have to write your feelings down and you have to sort through all of them, and again, and get your list out. And I don't care where's my list? Let me find my list. And I don't care if you're already in a relationship, your list still works. There's the list. Is that the list? That's not the list. Hold on. There we go. There's the list. There's the list. It's talking about your strengths and your weaknesses. And I believe in that journal, Deanna, it should be a place for your strengths and your weaknesses, if I'm not mistaken. And your triggers. You have to know about yourself so that you can know how you're functioning in this relationship. You have to know the things that are important to you because that's how you're forming your relationship. Does this person value the things that are important to you? You have to know, you have to ask yourself that. And so that's going to guide your current relationship because it's going to be like, okay, look, these are the things that's important to me. And you have to understand that they're important to me and at least try to support, at least try to see things my way. The deal breakers, are they violating any of your deal breakers? And then you have the different qualities. You have to look at all of that stuff and make an assessment. Now, when I'm looking at a relationship, I want somebody to make me better in every way. Not make me better, but they should help you. They should make you feel good about yourself. They should push you towards your dreams and your goals. They should support you. They shouldn't be sitting there talking negative to you and yelling at you because when I go back to my relationship statement, a relationship should be a safe place to grow and become. Evidenced by love, honor, respect, and fun. Like, you want a good relationship. You want to feel good. You shouldn't have to drag yourself home to this person. And the first thing they do is they just look at you like this. Like, who? No, you don't have to take that. There's too many men. There's too many women out here. Don't settle for less than what God has. But the problem with so many people is, if I let go, will I get it back? Will it be better? But that's the thing that you're going to have to decide. Are you going to settle now and be miserable and bitter? Or are you going to cut your losses now and say, okay, Lord, you can have it. But again, if you look at the top of my paper, all things start with God. Because he's the one that's going to direct you. All of your blessings flows out of that relationship with God. When you get connected to him, he's going to begin to allow his spirit to illuminate inside of you. And you're going to be able to see. And as you study, and everybody's not like a whole big Bible scholar study, but they have a Bible app and it just has the scripture of the day. And if you don't do nothing but start there, you have to start with what my sign say? Start with what you have. if you just do like one scripture a day just to get some word in you, God is going to begin to manifest himself in you. And then he's going to show you, like, you can't deal with this. Like, this is not what I'm calling you to deal with. And yeah, you can change your focus. And when you change your focus and you do this and you block that person out, guess what? Now it's you and him. It's you and God. He's going to show you what you need to see. That way, when you begin to focus in on what's important, you begin to change your perspective. Now you're taking it all in. I've changed my focus. I'm considering all these different things. I'm looking around. Okay, I see. But that's why you have to have that relationship in order for him to do that. So I think that I am finished for the night, and I have went over my time, which is okay. But in conclusion, guys, wherever you are on your journey with your relationship, some flags are red flags, as the obvious. If somebody is hitting on you, then that's not something that you want to stay in. I don't care what. If they didn't hit you and I'm sorry, and they didn't hit you a couple times last week and I'm sorry, no, I'm sorry. There's no way around that, because nobody have the right to be doing that. That's a real serious problem. So there are some obvious signs that I don't feel like you should work through, and that's one of them. Cheating, I don't deal with it, but some women do. They just love their man because he's such a good man, but he just cheat occasionally. Because I feel like if they love you, then they wouldn't do it. I don't care. It's a problem. Thank you, Danella. So, in conclusion, just trust God with it all. And again, go to your journals, write it down. Whatever the relationship, if it's a marriage, a new relationship, or you're waiting, write it down. Allow God to begin to work in it. Allow him to begin to work in you. Because when he begins to work in you, it's going to manifest on the outside. And everything that God's spirit touches, it has to change. And so whether you're taken out of that situation or there's an improvement in that situation, you have to let God handle it. You have to be willing to let go and allow him to do whatever he's going to do in the situation. And I promise you that it's going to be okay. I thought I was going to be by myself for the rest of my life. And I was lonely, but I was kind of okay because I just didn't feel like going through no more mess. But God blessed me, and he blessed me with like a man that I just never thought that I would get. And why didn't I think I would get a good one? I just thought because I had so many relationships, there just was no good guys out there. And I was just like, forget it, because I'm not going to settle. So just forget it. But he's given me somebody. He's given me somebody who can love and who can lead and absolutely crazy about God. You know what I mean? So we don't know what God is going to do, because while we are trying to form our life, God is in the background. Hey, Vanessa. God is in the background, and he's setting the scene up. Okay? Just like when you guys go to a play and y'all all sitting in the audience. They're back there setting the scene. You don't know what they're doing. All you see is that beautiful show as it's happening before your eyes. And that's what God does. But he requires something from us. God is just not going to cash out on us. He's not going to just do this. Okay? You got to give him something. Okay? At the strip club, they shake their booties and they get that money. Okay? That's what God wants from us. He wants us to give him something. And then he'll bless us. Blessings on blessings on blessings. That song, okay? That's how it works. You have to give him something. You can't just sit there and expect God to just do stuff to you and just shower down blessings. And he do it, but you don't expect it. Because he might do it for somebody else and you don't get it, and then you're going to be mad. So serve him. Just talk to him. 5 minutes a day, guys. 5 minutes a day. Lord, help me. Help me, draw me closer to you, because I need you to help my life. I need you to do something about my marriage. I need you to do something about my loneliness, my singleness. He'll do it because he loves you and he cares. So be encouraged. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all of thine heart. Lean not on thy own understanding. In all of your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths straight. That is my scripture, and I hold on tight to it. So be encouraged on this evening. Thank you all for watching me tonight, and you guys have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Thank you.